Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Pulp Crazy. I'm Jason Aiken. In this week's episode, I will be focusing on The Avenger by Paul Ernst. Thanks to the news last week, I think now is a good time to give The Avenger the spotlight. With a TV series inspired by The Avenger in development at the CW, let's take a few moments to focus on the original Pulp hero. The Avenger first appeared in his own magazine, published by Street and Smith in September 1939. The debut story was titled Justice Incorporated, or Justice Inc. The Avenger was developed by Street and Smith editors Henry William Ralston and John W. Nanovic, with input from Doc Savage writer Lester Dent and the Shadow writer Walter Gibson. As they wanted a character with aspects of both Doc Savage and the Shadow, they definitely went to the right people. Veteran pulp writer Paul Ernst wrote this series under the house name Kenneth Robeson. Ernst contributed his own unique ideas to the character as well, based on some of his earlier creations. Tales of these proto-Avengers can be read in the Casebook of CK and other prototypes of the Avenger, both in print and ebook format from Altus Press. The Avenger's real name is Richard Henry Benson. In the first story, Justice Incorporated, Benson's wife Alicia and daughter Alice disappear while on an airplane flight he was on. To add even more intrigue, nobody remembers Benson even traveling with a wife and daughter. If that sounds familiar, it's probably because the Jodie Foster movie, Flight Plan, used the same plot point. The shock and trauma of this event caused Benson's hair to turn white and his face to become a gray, clay-like substance he could mold to change his appearance with. He was committed to a psych ward and eventually realized he had to feign acceptance in order to get released. During the course of the story, we see that Benson is a paragon. While he's not a very tall man, standing at only around 5'8", he's incredibly strong, capable of overpowering much larger men. Ernst describes his muscles as being of a greater quality rather than quantity. Benson's worldly travels have also provided him with a near-endless set of skills, knowledge, and wealth. His two signature weapons are Mike, a modified .22 pistol, and Ike, a throwing knife. Upon his release, he ends up solving the case with the help of Fergus McMurdy, a pharmacist and chemist. He's also known as Mac. Algernon Heathcote Smith, also known as Smitty, aided him as well. Smitty is a giant in size and is also an electronics wizard. The three of them start up Justice Incorporated and become crime fighters and adventurers. They are joined in the next story, The Yellow Horde, by Nellie Gray, a martial arts expert who participates in the investigation into her father's death. Her father was an archaeologist who located a large quantity of Aztec gold, hence the Yellow Horde title. It should also be noted that Nellie was the name of Paul Ernst's mother as well, so it appears he named her after his mom. Josh and Rosabelle Newton join the team in the third story, The Skywalker. They are an African-American couple whose portrayal was very much ahead of the times in the late 1930s. The team's later joined by somebody named Cole Wilson. I don't know much about him, as I haven't read any of the stories with him in them. Having only read the first 3 stories, I have to admit, I am in no way an Avenger expert by any means, but I really enjoyed the first 3, and I'm looking forward to reading more. I can see why so many pulp fans consider the Avenger to be the best written hero pulp. I can't speak to that myself, as I haven't read nearly enough hero pulps to make that comparison, but Paul Ernst's writing is definitely top-notch. As for some of the future stories, I really can't say that I'm interested in reading the ones that take place after his hair goes back to black and he no longer has the ability to manipulate his face. His appearance and that unique ability just really made him more interesting to read about for me. The Avenger Pulp series, written by Paul Ernst, was published from 1939 to 1942, with 24 stories in total. The Avenger also had a radio show from 1941 to 1942. Unfortunately, it only survives in the form of 7 scripts. No episode recordings are known to exist of it. Emil C. Tepperman would continue the series in short story format in issues of Clues Detective from 1942 to 1943, and 1 short story in an issue of The Shadow in 1944. Ron Goulart would later write Avenger novels from 1972 to 1975. The most recent Avenger stories have come from Moonstone. They have published 3 anthologies of short stories featuring the Avenger and his aides. They have been excellent, and it's also rumored they will be publishing an Avenger novel in the near future. In addition to prose stories, the Avenger has also lived on in comic books. My favorite comic portrayal was when he crossed over with the Shadow, in The Shadow number 11, published by DC Comics in July 1975. This issue also stands out due to it being an early work of Michael Uslan. The more recent portrayal of the Avenger and Justice Incorporated during DC's first wave event and line of books wasn't really authentic in any way. I'd recommend steering clear of those ones. Also, with the words genetic hacking and biopunk being thrown around the new CW TV series, that doesn't really sound too promising to me either. If you want the real Avenger, read the Pulp reprints published by Sanctum Books. If you want interesting new tales of the Avenger and Justice Incorporated, check out the 3 Moonstone anthologies. Uvula Audio also has the first 3 Avenger stories available via audiobooks for free off of their website. That's how I experienced them, and I can't recommend them enough. 2 excellent works of non-fiction have been published featuring the Avenger as well. The Grey Nemesis by Howard Hopkins is the definitive study of the Avenger and his aides. You can purchase it from Amazon in print and ebook format. The paperback edition is just under $10, and the ebook is only $2.99. It's a fantastic resource from a true pulp scholar. Rick Lay, pulp expert and chronologist, has created a timeline for the Avenger as well. You can read a version of it on pjfarmer.com, the official Philip Jose Farmer website. I'll link to this in the show notes. I believe an updated timeline has been published in one of the hardcover Moonstone anthologies, as a bonus feature too. If you are interested in reading well-written pulp stories about a unique character, give The Avenger a shot. The first 3 books make great listening, and are very well written. Thanks for watching. Pulp Crazy is located at pulpcrazy.com. I'm at Pulp Crazy on Twitter and facebook.com/pulpcrazy. You can also email me at pulpcrazy@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.